everyone. Welcome to the Interns Lightning Talks. I was asked to do a short announcement for the picnic. If you don't just follow the masters but plan to do something else before, the tram station Linne-Platzen is the one where you want to go. Second,
tram number 6.
What?
Tram number 6.
Tram number 6. Thank you. Second, I want to thank Alexandra and Ekaterina, who isn't here right now, for doing the whole summer code together with me. And for that, he of course gets some chocolate because otherwise he's very sad. I will just please come and get yours. Yeah, the talks will be as following. You students know the order. You have them printed out. There are already two lying around there. If you don't have one already, please come here to the side if the student before you speaks, so we can switch easily. And you'll then get the microphone and the presentation remote from the student for you to make it switch smooth. When you finish your talk, just come to me and get your chocolate as the speaker's gift. Yeah, and I think then we can just start with Ankit. Thanks.
So, welcome everyone. My project is on GeoClue, and as you can see, it's GPS trained. So, my mentor is Zishan Ali. He's present right here. So, first I would like to talk a little about GeoClue. So, GeoClue is like it's a debus application that helps GNOME applications to get devices' current location. So GeoClue handles all background details where it gets the location from, whether it's GPS, 3G network, or even Mozilla location services or other location services. So this is how it works. So a client can be an application, maybe map or another application who require the location at the moment. So the client requests GeoClue via debus, and GeoClue has several sources built in, such as Wi-Fi, 3G, CDMA, and modern GPS to find user's location. GeoClue finds location via source and then sends it back to the client. In our case, it can be map, Google Maps. So this portion is the part of my project. This is NME source, NME source. So what this source does is it looks for NME service devices all over on the network and picks the device with the highest accuracy, pings it for location, and then gets location back and sends it back to the client. So NME source in the background uses NME GPS sentences to transfer location data. So that's the standard set by NME. And there are some technical details for device discovery. We are using MDNS. GeoClue uses, so we have two sides now. A NME service which is currently installed, which can be installed on an Android device, or you can create a NME service of your own. And GeoClue end. So GeoClue end uses Hawaii to search all NME service on the network, and Android uses JMDNS. It's an open source library for Java to for MDNS purposes. So So the service type is Nemia TCP, and it's served on port number 10110. This is a standard on IANA's website, and all communication is done through IP network using socket communication, and of course data is transferred using Nemia GG sentences. So what's next? What's after I'm done with this project? We are thinking of implementing a geoclue to geoclue location sharing. That is, if you have a GPS on one geoclue device, you can transfer the location to the other location device, other GNOME device using this geoclue to geoclue location sharing. All you need a separate application, just like an Android one, to transfer Nemia sentences again to the Nemia source, and also merging this project with Ninjas could be a possible future. So thank you all. Also, apart from Enter, I would like to thank Bastian and Carlos for reviewing my code. Thank you.
Hello. So, hello everyone. My name is George Basili, and I'm now presenting the work I'm still doing as part of my summer of code project. I did, and I'm still doing it with Carlos Soriano, the always awesome Carlos Soriano. So, congratulate him for most of his work. It was really nothing. So, let's go. My project is related to Nautilus and GTK. I will explain this better. Well, the current problem is on GTK Places sidebar, because it is all in one widget. It manages many things at the same time. It displays everything, and it has some problems. Too many items, they are, well, many items. It's not good to display too many items at the same time. And you can't manage your networks with it, although it displays networks. So you need a separate application to actually connect with the servers you want. And well, this is bad because Nautilus tries to solve this having two binaries in the same tree, one just for the connect to server dialog and another one which is Nautilus itself. Hopefully we're getting rid of the connect server application. And well, let's see. This is how it is in my computer with two partitions and one cloud account and 4 bookmarks. It shouldn't be so big. So it gets really cluttered, and I had to resize the file chooser dialog to almost my entire screen to take this screenshot. So the proposed solution was done by the Island Day, the always great Island Day. Congratulate him, please. Yeah, so the solution is to separate some things into a special view called Places View. Places View manages the fixed locations, the locations that will not change, and also allows you to connect your servers, to connect to the servers. So it kills two problems in one code. So now you don't have to actually use a third-party application to connect to the servers. You can connect to the servers using the file chooser dialog, which was not happening before. And well, the project was initially meant to be done on Nautilus. And right in the beginning, there was a big plot twist that GTK also manages files through file chooser widget. So, well, things changed. We had to make this thing work on GTK side first, then share it on Nautilus. So most of my time I'm spending on Nautilus trying to refactor this 20 years old code base, which has many interesting codes there, many interesting features that I'm still trying to understand up to now. And hopefully we'll get rid of this, if it makes sense, right? And, well, this code is already merged on master, GK master, and it will land on 3.18. So that's it, guys. I hope you're enjoying the work up to now.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. I am Rashi Aswani, and I am a Google Summer of Code student with GNOME, and I am currently working on automated tests for GNOME logs under the mentorship of David King. So last summer, I was an outreach program for women students, and I worked with the documentation team. So we documented various GNOME games like Klotsky, Tali, Swerfoop, and chess. So here are a bunch of screenshots for Klotsky. So initially the user manual was in dogbook format, and now it's in mallet format. So dogbook is basically like a manual in which if you want to look up for something, you have to search through the entire dogbook and then find what you need. Whereas mallet uses dynamic links, so the navigation is pretty easy. So this is the screenshot for Klotsky, and this is for Tali. And right now I'm working on automated tests for GNOME logs. So this is the logs UI. So the various tests that we wrote for GNOME logs includes, first is the selection of an item in the sidebar menu. As you can see, there are various categories like important, all, applications, etc. So the first test was to do a user click on each of the category and test it. So we did it using the Doctail framework. And the next test was to click on the particular log listing of a particular category. So as these log listings are system dependent, so we had to actually replicate the GL General API and add a test message for the assertion. So this was the test, and the third test that we wrote was to check the go back functionality. Like if you click on one log listing, then that particular log listing will be shown. So if you want to go back to the original menu of the log listing, that functionality. And in future, we are thinking to add tests for the search functionality and various basic UI tests. So that's all. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jonathan Kang, and I'm from China. And I'm working on GNOME logs, and David King is my mentor. So today I have three things I want to talk about, and these three things are several bugs I fixed during the Google Summer Code this summer. So the first one is a UI change, and it is use a single row to show each log entry. And the second one is a new feature to the GNOME logs, and it is view logs from previous boots. And the third one, it is also a new feature, and it is improved search by using Boolean combinations. So next we will go through these three parts. Okay, the first one is a UI change, that is use a single row to show each log entries. And next I will show two pictures for comparison. The first one is before the patch, how does it look like? And the second one is after the patch, how does it look like? And I will also want to talk about why do we change it. So in the Raji's presentation, you see the screenshot that is completely different than this one, right? And that picture is after the patch. So this one is before the patch. We can see that every log entry there will be two rows. Two rows will be used to show this one. In the first row there will be a kind of the name of the log. And in the second row, there will be the message, the detailed message. So, and this is the after patch. So we can see, this is very clear, and we can see that. So why do we change it? It's very clear. Before the patch, you can see every log entry uses two rows, and it's how to say, every log entry just uses too much space, and so using a single row to show this, we can in the same size of window, in the same size of a window, we can see more log entries. So this is why we change it. So coming to the second one is a new feature that is view logs from previous boosts. And this is the screenshot of the after patch. And you can see that there was on the top right, there was a menu button and a pop-up window, pop-up menu showing that there was 5 time you can click on those. While clicking one, you can see and over here you can see the logs, and the log entry will change. Before the patch, you can only view the current boot through the GNOME logs, but it is very limited. But someone I want to see some previous boots. So before the patch, you cannot do this. But after the patch, right now we only have the option to let the user choose the latest 5 boots. But you will be available sometime later to let the user to access all the boots. So that will be pretty good. Okay, so let's go to the third one. The third one is also a new feature that is to improve the search by using Boolean combinations. And so before the patch, what do we search as a search text? We may input and GTK entry, search entry directly as maybe we type systemd, pppd, disable, or device, and some relevant entries will show up. After patch and the search logs will become very powerful, and we can see that maybe some of you, or maybe many of you, has ever used journal CTL, and the search of journal CTL is very powerful. But before the patch, the GNOME logs cannot do the same functionality as the journal CTL. So after patch, we can also do the search like this one. And this will show the messages whose common field is pppd and whose message field is disabled, or whose common field is systemd and whose message field is device. So by using this logical and logical OR, this and Boolean combinations, and this will make the search of GNOME logs very powerful. And so this is why we improve this feature. So that's all. Thanks.
Hello? Oh, I'm going back. Okay. Hello everyone. I'm Edwin Claras. I worked on boxes for the second summer under the mentorship of Zishanali, and I thank him for supporting me for the second summer. Well, what did I do this time? I improved the thumbnails on boxes. Here is an example. You maybe have already seen a blog post about it. So lots of improvements thanks to Jacob. Okay. So now, what you can see is that you can't really see it, but there is a little gray box around the thumbnails. The little heart which symbolized favorites is now replaced by a little star, which is on the opposite side, so it doesn't conflict with the selection checkbox. And also boxes being imported, like this, like you can see Fedora 22, which are not getting installed but imported, were so far rendered only as a black box. Now they are rendered as a gray box, just as you can see the other one, but with the spinner. I am also working on a list view. I hope it will be merged for this cycle. So I'm really proud of what I did so far. I think it looks pretty nice. Once again, it's thanks to Jakob's design. I learned a lot thanks to this, because I learned a lot about CSS stemming in GTK, especially to make the thumbnails work and the widget states and weird stuff like that. It was very interesting. I hope it will be really useful. I think it is. You have more information and it takes less space. I also worked on filters, pre-made filters, which allow you to see your local and remote machines. They are defined either if they are virtual machines that you created in boxes, they will be local, and if they are in the local namespace, they will also be considered local. I also worked on refactoring the wizard for creating the boxes, and it has been kind of complicated because the pages, the pages in the wizard were kind of like one big widget, more or less, and the code was really intricate and lots of different behaviors intertwined. And I tried to split every behavior into several pages. I more or less did it. More or less. There's still work to be done, but I think the refactoring by itself may be good for the cycle, but you won't see any difference. It will only be code. Other than that, the general idea was to port the actual result to use GTK Assistant. Once refactoring will be done, it should be trivial to do. I also try to improve the usage of MIME types in boxes. So you could open a file like an ISO or a QCloud2 file, and I failed. I encountered a pretty weird bug. At least it's really weird for me. I tried to change the desktop entry of boxes to set the MIME type field. And I could set an ISO, for example, to launch directly with boxes, but boxes didn't launch at all. I tried several stuff. Trying to launch the ISO directly on the command line worked, except when you tried xdg open. It was the same. It didn't work at all. But when I renamed boxes desktop entry to something simpler, I don't know why, boxes started to launch, but without opening the ISO, it was pretty weird. I really don't understand. If anybody understands this, please contact me. I want to fix this. Thanks.
Hi and good evening everyone. I'm Andrei Macave. I'm here to talk about GNOME key sign. What is GNOME key sign? Well, it's a tool for signing OpenPGP keys in an easier way. That started as an idea in the last summer, in Google Summer of 2014. And the idea was proposed by my mentor, Tobias Müller. What it does It allows to securely exchange OpenPGP keys without needing to contact a key server. It assigns each UID of the keys individually and allows to send encrypted signatures back to the key owner using the default mail user agent. What happened from last release, from last Google Summer of Code, the second release, with a new wizard-less UI for the server side, a full screen QR code window, widgets that are easier to use, and it now can bind to IPv6 sockets also. How it looks? Well, it looks simple. Here the user wants to get one of his keys signed, and he selects the key, and then he gets this key fingerprint or the QR code generated. The other user who wants to sign the first user, the user X key, he goes to the second tab, and he can type the fingerprint or can use the camera to scan the QR code. Okay. What happens in what I'm working on in Google Summer Code 2015? I wanted to make the donkey sign application GNOME ready. So I replaced some of the dependencies that made it harder to distribute, some weird dependencies. I made a new GPG library, Python GPG library that can interact with GPG. Added support for internationalization and localization. This made it even easier to use in your language now that you can translate it. Build test suite for major program components, and now I'm working on making the file transfer more secure by setting up an encrypted link. And last part, to switch to GTK Builder and design the interface a lot easier. What's next? Soon it will be a third release, and probably an official GNOME repository. Now we're hosting on GitHub, and we'll integrate it with the GNOME desktop platform. All right, this was my talk. Thank you.
My name is Adeli Kothari, and I was working on Koala, making a gedit plugin for Koala. So a lot of people, when they're developing, use IDEs and so on. I normally just use a simple text editor. So what I wanted to do during this summer was bring Koala into a text editor. So I made a plugin for gedit. So let me begin with what is Koala. So Koala is a static code analysis software. What it does is it helps you run some piece of code that you have on a huge code base. So let's say if you want to run a particular Python program on every single file in a code base, you can easily do this with Koala. How it works is you need to write bars. A bar is basically any code that you write which you want to run on the code base. So we have some inbuilt bars in Koala already. For example, the code clone detection, which is currently only for C. The language toolbar, which helps you, find out grammatical errors in your comments and markdown files. Pilot for Python files, and space consistency for tabs, spaces, and so on. So these are the two plugins which I made during this summer. The first one is a gedit plugin, where I basically used the Python API for gedit, added a source mark for every line which has a problem. So the problem with that line is basically that it has an extra space after the comment. And this is something that Elastic doesn't like in our code base, so therefore it's there in Koala. So also when you hover on the particular source mark, it has a tooltip. So it's stating what the error is. A similar thing was also done for Sublime Text Editor, where again all of these lines are marked because they have an extra space. So they have an extra space, and this makes it much easier to find problems in your code base before you let's say push it or so on. So how we did the plugins was making an external API for Koala. So we had two external API. One is the dbus and the JSON one. So dbus is just using the dbus interface to have some functions which it calls inside Koala. And for the JSON one, what it does is it prints out all the results from Koala into a JSON format. Now this JSON can be passed by any other programming language into whatever data structure you want and can be used pretty easily. Also, one more thing which I worked on during the summer was continuous integration in Koala. So it was already there, I was just enhancing it a bit. So we have a pretty nice system in Koala where how the workflow works is that any developer makes a pull request on GitHub, and GitHub is already configured with a few tools like Travis, Scrutinizer, and so on. And these run on the pull request, the patch master basically, and it checks your code. So we have Linux testing using CircleCI, we have Mac testing using Travis, Windows testing using Appier, and also we have Scrutinizer for checking code quality. So it tells you if you have very complex functions and so on. And the last one is coverage. So coverage is, while you're testing, it just checks every line has been checked or not. Also, one nice tool which we've been using in Koala very recently is Rulter, R-U-L-T-O-R. So what Rulter does is that it makes it very easy for you to merge your code bases and make releases. So let's say if you have a pull request, normally you'll have to check if it's possible to rebase it and so on and so forth. So Rulter has a very easy way of, you just type something like @Rulter space merge, and it will try to merge it. And you can choose some rules like this should not give any conflicts with earlier codes and so on and so forth. Also, one more thing we do with Rulter is that we update our translations using Zanata before it merges. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Uday Tandon, and I was working on a GUI for Koala. So that's the logo that we're really proud of. So I started my work with designing or working on a prototype, and well, the motivation for a prototype was that we really did not know when we started where we wanted to take this GUI and what features we wanted in it. So, and also we wanted to see that can we pull data from Koala and display it in a GTK-based GUI. And also, every day during the design the prototype, we've made new feature decisions that have been added. So this is the results view in the prototype, and as you can see, this uses GTK source view and it also pulls results from Koala and displays it here. And you can see that you can also do actions on it. If you press ignore, it will just delete the result. And this is pretty much what we want to do in the final GUI. So the final GUI. So the need for a final GUI. So I think we use a GUI to make it more intuitive to the users and to make the functions more clear so that everything is visible. And it's also easy for the beginners to use. So when I started coding, I was not immediately comfortable with the terminal environment, which essentially Koala is right now. And I think for beginners, as I was beginning, I remember I used to do 15, 20 force pushes on my code to just get it correct. And also in the GUI, we want a continuous integration style updation of results. So what we want to do is that every 5 seconds or 10 seconds, we want to check the code base. I want to see if it has been updated, and then we want to update the results on the go so that they're just available whenever you go to the GUI. So challenges that I had, I think that designing a GUI from scratch, there are really little problems that I face, and especially because it's in Python, I also face a lack of resources for GTK3 in Python. And open source contribution is really something new to me. I just started in February, and all thanks to Lassie that I'm here, and he's been a really great mentor. Also, testing and maintaining 100% coverage, even if one statement is not covered, you can pretty much guarantee that Lassie will reject that pull request. Yeah, and I have had some issues with GTK3. So this is like the only thing right now that is completely ready in my GUI, and I have like rip it off of Builder, and Christian has really helped me on the IRC to get this at least ready by now. Thank you. Judge me or I don't know, don't judge me. I'd like to take a selfie with all of you in the background.
Oh my god, it's the Oscars.
Yeah, I said judge me or not.
Hello. My name is Bastian, and I've been working a bit on enhancing the chatting experience in an IRC client. And the IRC client is Polari. It's been around for a while and made initially by my mentor, Florian. I've been working on a variety of things here and there to improve it, and I'll go through the few of them that I managed to successfully implement. One of the first things, which is already based in the unstable release of GNOME at the moment, is the initial setup, and it started out, well, this is how it looks in GNOME 3.16, and it's not, well, I guess, not particularly user-friendly. So I added some identity to this window and some labeling. So it becomes sort of like a little tour. You get asked to add a new connection, you open the connection dialog, oh, I have to use the plus button, alright, that's nice, and now I can join the room using the plus button. Another thing I've been looking into is to create a room menu. And the idea of this room menu is to give each room a status, so you can see, what channel modes are available, am I connected securely, and so forth, and also give you some options as to, for example, if you want to change the topic, in case you have permission to do that, or if you want to leave the room for that case. At the moment, this is how the implementation looks, but it should have be pretty versatile to add more content in the future. Another thing I've been looking into has been status hiding, which is this interesting concept of removing all this, some of these garbage messages you see a lot. For example, when you're on Debian on a very active day, then pretty much 80% of your chat view is covered in someone has disconnected and someone else has joined, and yeah. So the first thing I've been looking into is how can you only show the relevant status messages. So I have one commit that kind of goes in and looks at, so who's activated the channel right now? Okay, that's probably the interesting users to actually emit status messages from them. Secondly, if the channel is not active, if there's no conversation going on, we compress the status messages instead, so that the 36 status messages become one line that you can expand anytime in history. This is not merged or anything yet, and should probably go on a design review, but it's some playing I've been doing. Then we now support, in the branch I have, we now support opening IRC links. If you browse around the internet, then when you go some different places, you will find an IRC link, and Polari will now register itself, and you can use Polari to open these links. You'll get this little connection dialog if you haven't connected to the server before. So you just enter your nickname, and you should be right off to the channel you might have connected to. This is another thing I've been working on, and this is basically error handling. We are now showing connecting notifications over in the sidebar of the room list instead. And if we encounter an error, we show this little funky error icon. And if you happen to be watching a channel that is showing or having an error, then we'll also emit a notification for you. For example, if you're unable to connect to Freenode, we'll show this error message and an action to edit the account and give some extra details, and then highlight the field that might be wrong, for example, if you misspelled the address. Then we also have another type of error where there might be a problem with establishing a secure connection, where we ask, do you actually care for this particular server if the connection is secure, or should we just leave things? And finally, if you happen to be banned from a room, for example from Nautilus, then we also show a notification for this. And that's it.
Hi, my name is Tim, and the official title of my project is Add an Image View Widget to GDK+. But it's just called GDK Image View. My mentor is Carlos Garnacho. He's here. Hi. That's when you clap. And basically, GDK Image View is your widget if you want to show an actual content image to the user that is not an icon, which statistically GDK image is probably used for the most. That's a dancing banana, and it's actually dancing only. GDK image is laid out to really display anything GDK Pixbuff can display. And yeah, we just use it for common user interaction stuff like scaling and rotating, and also has things like you can tell it to restrict the angle to 90-degree steps, which is common in image viewers. Yeah, it displays a normal image, and in the usual case it does not keep a GDK Pixbuff around it, instead only a Cairo surface. Unless it's an animation, in which case you just need an animation. We have asynchronous ways to load your image from streams or from a file. Yeah, scale and angle properties, of course. In the future, probably touchpad gestures, hopefully, and normal gestures for your touchscreen. GDK image has this problem with high DPI and scale factors, which we want to avoid. So if you load any image from disk and tell GDK image viewers that you want, or you designed it to be a scale 2 image, then you will not scale it up if your display is also scale 2. Yeah, we can scale the surface to fit the widget allocation, or scale the image to fit, scale the widget to fit the image. And what I'm currently working on is the scale to mouse pointer thing, where the GDK image view is in a scroll window, and you scroll, you scale using the mouse, but you don't want, like that would increase the size, and so everything would move to the lower right, but you don't want that, so we need to scroll to the lower upper left. Yes, because it's a GDK scrollable and GDK widget subclass, and I think that's it. And I have a work in progress branch if you want to check that out, unless I put something stupid like last time.
Hello everyone, my name is Marcin and my mentor is Sebastian Droga. I worked this year on GStreamer debugger. I suppose everyone knows what GStreamer is, so I won't talk about it. I use GStreamer very often, almost daily, and almost always had the same problem. I wanted to know what's going on specific path. I mean, what kind of events, what kind of queries, what buffers are going through there, and I wasn't able to do it using GStreamer logs. So I had this problem with probes, but it was very inconvenient because if I wanted to spy watching another path, I need to recompile my application. So that was problematic. And that's why I started my own project, GStreamer Debugger. I also decided to allow the clients to have an access through the internet connection to the server, to the debugging server. So if I have my application running on some embedded device, I have an access to all this data through the TCP/IP protocol. Okay, so that's the solution. My project consists of two parts. The first part is the server. It's implemented as GST Trace plugin. The GST Trace module is not implemented in current stable GStreamer version, but it will be in the future. And the client side is a GTK Plus application. It looks like that. So the most important features. At first, you are able to watch the pipeline's topology. So I mean, all the elements or all beans of your pipeline are available in the application. You can get inside the specific bean, view all paths or elements inside the bean. The second feature, properties. You can both watch the property values and change these values as well. What's the most important? You don't have to install all elements which are used in server-side application, because all the properties are sent from the server to the client. All types of these properties are sent, so you don't have to know nothing about elements in your client-side application. The other feature, log messages, so you have an access to all logs of GStreamer. Events are also available. You can select the path, you can select event type. You are also able to watch bus messages, buffers as well, but I don't recommend it if you have a lot of data in these buffers. And that's it. Thanks for attention.
Hi everyone, my name is Oliver Luo, and I'm one of this year's Google Summer Code students, and I'm working on a tiny bit part of the evolution. And my mentor is it's David Woodhouse, and he's not here today. So let me introduce something of my project. First, I'll tell you something about my project. It's called Evolution Active Sync. And then something about my work is about two migrations from the plugin to the extensions and from the gcomp to the gsettings. And the last I will tell you something about our future works. First about our project, Evolution Active Sync. It's a backend for Evolution that support the Microsoft Exchange Active Sync. It's a kind of protocol that would do the synchronization of some of many stuff like emails, contacts, or something, and it is largely used. It is used in Exchange servers like Office 365, and it was using Google. And I guess it's some stuff between Google and Microsoft, so it's not supposed to be yet, not until now. But you can still access Google some stuffs with the existing configurations, but I think that new account is not allowed. And it's about my work. My first work is a migration from a plugin to an extension. So the plugin is the API used to extend evolution so that the user can configure their accounts using the GUI provided by evolution. But it's deprecated, and the last work version is evolution 3.4. And after that, the users of our project can only configure their accounts by command line, so it's kind of convenient. So I just migrate our project to the new API called a extension, and we bring back the GUI configuration to user. And the next work is the migration from the gconf to the gsettings. As we know, gconf is kind of things to store user accounts informations, and it's deprecated. So I just migrate our project from gconf to the new API called gsettings, and it just works well. And let's search some future works. First, we have to handle the password things. We just spawned the SSH ask pass now to ask user the password, but we actually get a password through the evolution itself, so we could work on that. And next stuff is some version control works. Since we only have a master branch now and we don't have any versions, so I guess we have to do some version controls, and we can release some stable versions so that we can make some checkpoint or something like that. And that's all of my report. I wish my work would help other people. Thank you.
Hello, my name is George, and together with my mentor Tobias Müller, I worked on something called Disable USB Unlock Screen that, if it's not evident from his name, should block some USB devices based on some criteria. Before starting any project, I think we should ask ourselves some questions like, why we do this? Well, some USB devices may be dangerous. They can contain viruses, or some greater hackers can rewrite the firmware from for that device and make hidden undercover devices, or we could have network trust issues. This is because they rewrite that firmware, and when we connect, or they connect that device, we should get something we are not destined to have in our computer, and that will cause some problems. The next question is, how do we do this? And this is pretty simple. First, we should, let's say, disable the driver's auto-binding system from Linux. And doing that, we could simply write 0 in some specific file. Then we should uniquely identify each device, and for that we ask Linux about the device descriptors, like device descriptor, configuration descriptor, interface descriptor, and endpoint descriptors. And having that, we could say if a device is, I don't know, USB mass storage, or heat device, or webcam, or something else. Then writing a debug that kicks in when the screensaver appears. Here we only listen for a signal from our known screensaver. And using this, we, how I said, write 0 in a specific file for drivers that driver's auto-binding shouldn't work, and then monitor each inserted device. And for this, I used PyDev. When I connect a device, I ask for some information about that device. I ask another device, but Linux, about the information it cached. And then, based on that, I should bind the driver to that device or no. And for the configuration, or for the device descriptors, I use PyUCB. And here we have, in the second column, we have an example from an USB mass storage. And let's say we want to block this USB mass storage. We first should look at the device class, and if it's 0, then each interface, the device can have more interfaces. Each interface specifies its functionality, and here we can see that B interface class is mass storage, and if it's something that we want to block, then we block. Else, we block it, leaving the driver out, not bind it. But if you want to bind it, then we simply bind it. That was it. Thanks.
Hello everyone, my name is Julian, and this summer I've been working on Nibbles modernization. My mentor is Michael Catanzaro. First of all, for those of you that don't know, Nibbles is a snake game for GNOME. The game's goal is to collect as many bonuses as possible while avoiding the other worms and the walls. And it also has support for multiplayer, up to 6 players, but only 4 human players. Short summary, I had to port the game to Vala from C. While doing that, I had to rethink the worm data structure. That was the root cause of most of our problems and crashes. And also I had to give the game an updated look, which you'll be able to see on the next slides. It's based on some mock-ups made by Alan Day. So on the left you can see the game before the port to Vala, and on the right you can see the updated look. A new retro arcade style look, and also on the bottom of the screen you can see an updated scoreboard that allows you to easily distinguish between your lives on the bottom row and the score for each worm. Also I added some pre-game screens that will give you some basic information and also allow you to configure some basic settings for the game you're about to play. The first screen, you'll see this one when you first run the game. It will give you a basic description of the game. On the right, you'll be able to choose the number of players for the current game. Based on the number of players you choose, you will see the controls for each player. And right before starting the game, and each level actually, you'll be able to see this screen, which gives you a short countdown on the bottom of the screen, and also some nameplates to easily be able to identify your worm. In conclusion, the game is now much easier to hack on, especially if you also contributed to other GNOME games. It has a similar structure. Besides that, the user now have a better experience. Firstly, by an updated UI, and also because we also fixed most of the crashes. And that's everything. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Alessandro Bono. I'm from Italy, and this summer I've been working on a new collection dialog for GNOME documents. So I was mentored by Debashi Ray, and that's it. Why do we need a new collection dialog? This is a picture of the current dialog, and it has a collection list really tiny, and it isn't well readable. The way you add a new collection isn't good, because if you write a name and then click on the list, it will add a collection anyway. And also there isn't a way to prevent duplicates entries. And lastly, the dialog lacks of the capability to rename or delete an existing collection. The new dialog is intended to solve these problems, and it looks like this. It has a more readable collection list, and you can check. You can click on the row to check it, unlike before. You can rename or delete a collection by clicking on the hamburger menu on the right. We can now prevent illegal entries like duplicates by disabling the down button or the add button when we add or name a collection. And if the user wants to delete a collection, instead of display a confirmation dialog, we immediately apply the deleting, but the user can roll it back by clicking the undo button. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Magdalene Burns and I'm working on developing Java ATK wrapper, and my mentor is Federico Minna. It's virtuous visual project because it's for Orca screen reader users rely on Orca's voice to navigate the desktop, and Orca needs GNOME's ATK to allow it to speak GTK app widgets and Windows. But when Orca is using a Java application, it needs the Java ATK wrapper as a bridge between AWT events and swing widgets. Just a bit of background, a company called Sun contributed the wrapper to GNOME in 2009. It was mainly developed by K-Wang until 2011. And then between 2011 and 2004, it was kind of abandoned. And then me and Alejandro did a bit of work on it, and then I became the maintainer. So it was pretty broken and pretty outdated, and it also needed more stuff into it to make a complete package, because it was never really completely sort of implementing everything that it needed to do, and I've just done something. Oh, what was it? Okay. So, yeah. So just a outline of it. It's organised as a Java library and a C library, two separate subfolders. You've got a wrapper, which the wrapper, which listens to AWT events, and then adapts JAPI to ATK interfaces, and then you've got JNI, which is written in C. And it converts AWT events to G signals and implements ATK class and interface pointers. Right. So okay, we're calling the native functions in C. So essentially, it calls Java functions in C with JNI. Okay. So for my project, what needs to be done is I want to implement class and interface pointers from ATK, which haven't been implemented, not sort of converting anything from Java, so they're missing from the wrappers library. But it also along the way, it's about fixing many bugs as well. Why did I give myself that sentence? So it's working with ATK, JNI, glib, GTK. JAPI and being a module maintainer has its learning curves. I mean, I've maintained modules, but not only for myself, not with GNOME. So this is the first time for me. So I've got a lot of learning curves to go through, and so implementing the pointer functions really helps me to learn the libraries better and get more familiar. So far, what I've done is I've fixed a number of crashes, and other bugs that have been reported, either by me or some users. I've improved the build, and most of the functions that are on my list have been checked off my list now. So I've actually started looking into tests, because testing events much easier than testing these implementers. So I'm looking into that to make a bit at the moment before I go back to finishing some more of those. And I'm also looking into what other AWT events should be converted into G-signals with JNI, as there's quite a few that are still missing. Right, thank you for listening. This is the last one, so I don't hear you. Anybody wants to try out the wrapper and have a play around with that and contribute or add bugs, feel free. Alright, thank you.
Yeah, many thanks to everyone, especially the students, and also to the mentors. We're really glad to have you. I hope next year we have even more, so please, if you have some idea for project listed, we even had to give back slots to Google this year, which is money for GNOME that is unused. So feel free to propose things, and maybe you'll get a student who actually does it for you. Yeah, and many thanks.